how to create a timetable, how to create an effective study schedule, how to remain consistent in keeping up with that timetable, how to stay motivated, how to avoid procrastination. I hope you watched part 1 and part 2 of my series. Anyways, hey Siki squad, welcome to part 3 of my How to Get Distinctions in MATRIC series. Now I know, I am so late. I have been promising you guys part 3, I think for the past 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm here, okay? You need to understand that I'm also a student, a university student, a medical student who has been writing tests every single week, and if not a test, then it has been exams. So bear with me, but I'm here now. If there has been a time where you need to get your notebooks and pens out, it is now, okay? So let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into the video, and yeah. So I asked people on my Instagram page and WhatsApp to send me questions or any concerns that they have regarding how to get distinctions, and a lot of people did give me feedback on certain things. And if you see me looking here, it's because I'm looking at my laptop. This is where I basically sent all the questions that you guys had and all like the comments and everything. I sent them to my laptop, so I'm going to be reading off of my laptop, guys, because yeah, we just gotta speed up the process. I could have written them down, but I don't have time to do that. Anyways, let's get straight into it. In this video, I'm going to be discussing some very important aspects, such as how to create a timetable, how to create an effective study schedule, how to remain consistent in keeping up with that timetable, how to stay motivated, how to avoid procrastination, how to consistently, achieve high marks, I guess, like how to be persistent in your marks. What else? There was a lot, guys, but I am going to just put a list here of the things that I'll be covering in this video. And please be aware that there is a timestamp just below. So, and also you check the timestamp in my description box so that you know if you are struggling with something, or if you want to go to a certain section of the video, then you are welcome to do so, because there are some guidelines. And yeah, so let me start. All right, so let's start speaking about the timetable, right? I'm sure you have heard so many comments, advice about creating a timetable, and on my side, guys, I do not want to complicate it for you. Let me just tell you what I did, or at least what inspired me to remain consistent in keeping up with my timetable. All right, 2023, my matric year, I remember that I needed help with creating a timetable, right? And so I went onto YouTube, I searched how to create a timetable, and of course there are so many people speaking about how to create a timetable. I'm one of them, I guess. I fall under that category. I fall under those type of content creators, I guess. However, for me, what I remember was that so if you don't know, I am a medical student, right? And I remember listening to a medical student who I really love, but I remember listening to her speaking about the timetable that she had in matric, and I was like, okay, Siki, if you want to also be like the student, if you want to get into medical school, you need to see what was she doing. How did she manage to get into med school from high school to like straight into it just from high school? And this student, oh guys, when she showed us her timetable on YouTube, it was insane. When I tell you, she was waking up at 3 a.m. to study. She was working crazy hours. And when I saw her timetable, I didn't compare myself in the sense that, okay, I also need to be waking up at 3 a.m. Instead, I saw the amount of hours that she was putting and the things that she was sacrificing, the amount of sleep you sacrifice. But at the same time, you also need to find some rest in between, you guys, because burnout is real. Burnout is real, and the examination period is very long. I think you guys have already started writing your finals, right? But I am aware that I think like the serious exams start on the 21st of October. I'm not sure, am I speaking for IEB or CAPS? But I think I'm confident that CAPS starts on the 21st. I think, I don't know. But there was a student on Instagram who DM'd me, and they explained that, oh, my exam's starting in 2 weeks, can you please help me? And today is literally the 7th of October. So if you're watching this on the 7th of October, then indeed there is no time. And if you're watching this after the 7th of October, then there's even less time for you. So you gotta get on your Zoom, all right? Basically, the main things about a timetable, guys, is that you need to be realistic with your timetable. Now, when I saw this medical student's timetable who was waking up at 3, she was sleeping at, like, maybe she'd sleep at 10 p.m, get up at 3, she'd start studying, she'd do this, she'd do that, and there was just so much. And I was like, okay, Siki, if you want to do what she is doing, you need to do what she did. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna push myself. And let me be honest with you guys, there were days when I was unable to wake up at that 3 a.m, but it was the fact that even after getting up late, I would still make up for that time and be like, okay, that didn't happen, but I still have time now to do what I need to do. And even here at medical school, there's been so many times where I plan to study, but I don't do it. But the main thing is that you have to prioritize the time that you do have, instead of thinking about the time that you have perhaps wasted or the time that you didn't utilize effectively. So without speaking further or confusing you, I want to show you guys how I did my timetable. So I had two methods of doing a timetable. The first method was doing a timetable before examination period, and then I had a whole different method of how I created my timetable during examination period. Because as much as, yes, you are studying now before your exams, but even during your exams, you are still studying, you are still grinding those past papers. Speaking of past papers, I hope you watched part 1 and part 2 of my series. Anyways, so let me show you the method that I used before examination period. So this was in preparation for exams. Now what I did was I did my timetable on a Word document, because I felt as though when it was on a Word document, it was easy access for me to change it. It was also, yeah, it was very easy for me to just access it whenever. And in addition to that, I mean, you can draw up your own timetable, pen and paper and all of that, but I don't know, I just felt like, let me use a Word document, you know. So in this Word document, there are 3 columns. Actually, I'm gonna do a voiceover explaining how I created this timetable instead of me explaining it like this. This is how my study timetable looked in MATRIC. I had 3 columns: dates and times, 1 for subject and 1 for the topics that would be covered within that specific subject. Under dates and times, I'd write today's date and the time that I'd get up and when I'd start studying, including times for the time that I would spend at school. In the second column, as you can see, subject, I'd write all the subjects that I would want to cover on that specific day, and then during each time slot, I'd have the specific subjects. As you can see here, 6 to 7, I'd do physics, and then under the topics, I'd write the specific topic that I'd cover for physics, and I'd write what exactly I would do. If I'm doing textbook questions, if I'm doing past paper questions, and the specific question that I want to do from that specific past paper. Be as specific as possible when you're doing the timetable. I'd even fit in the time that I'd spend at school. So from 7:30 to 1:30, I'd be at school, and then I'd get back, maybe not even get back, but at the school library, I'd do another subject like history. Okay, I didn't take history, but I just wanted to make it relevant to everyone. And then as you can see, this is what I'd do. So 4 weeks before my exam period, I would write the specific subjects that I'd want to focus in each week. And yeah, guys, you see how simple it is though. A friend of mine asked me for some help with creating their timetable, so I helped them out last year, and this is copy and paste of what I sent to them. And yeah, guys, so this is more for my early birds, for those who want to get up at 3 a.m. if you want to grind because the early bird catches the worm, right? Here's a screenshot. Please take note that I would first write a to-do list, and only then I would then fit everything into the timetable. In addition to creating a realistic timetable, I feel like at the end of every day, at the end of every study day, you need to dedicate perhaps 30 or 45 minutes or even an hour where within that time slot, you're going to go back to the things that you didn't cover. Because one thing about setting a timetable that really is frustrating is dedicating 2 hours for maths, 2 hours for English, 2 hours for history, but within the 2 hours of maths, you didn't cover all you needed to cover. So then now you're behind on maths. Then perhaps you stretch it over to the time of English, and now you're taking time from English to do maths, but now you're going to be behind in the next thing. And I think that's the worst thing when it comes to creating a timetable. So if you can set aside time to go back to the things that you didn't do, then essentially that'll help you, guys. That'll really help you. In terms of which subjects to put where and how and what topics, I think I've mentioned this in my previous videos. You need to start with the subjects, that you are struggling with the most. Or let me rather say, you must start with the subjects that are your priorities, or subjects that are more challenging, more demanding. They need you to put in extra work in order for you to secure those good marks. So I suggest you write all your subjects, and on the same paper I want you to write the different topics or different chapters of each subject. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a red pen, or any colored pen, doesn't have to be red, whatever, just, or a marker or underline or whatever, and you're going to underline all the difficult topics, the things that you find very, very difficult, and you need to tackle those first. And in addition to that, I want you to take a different colored pen and highlight or underline or mark the topics that count the most in exam questions. Because when it comes to exams, you need to utilize the way that they set the questions. So if you know that trigonometry counts 50% for your exam, then trigonometry has to be your main focus. Okay, there's no point in working really hard in a topic that counts 10%, but you're not as confident in a topic that counts 50%. Remember, with these exams, we want to secure those distinctions, and the only way that we can secure those distinctions is to avoid making small mistakes, is to avoid losing marks on things that we possibly could have gotten the marks for. So let's be wise. Now, after marking all the topics that are difficult and the topics that count the most in the exams, what you're going to do now is you are sort of ready to create that timetable. So remember that table that I told you about, that Word document? If you don't have access to Word, then you could just also draw up your own timetable on a piece of paper, and that's perfectly fine. But what you're going to do now is that, I think, well, for me, it depends when is your brain most active, but for me, my brain is most active in the mornings. Well, that was last year. This year, things have changed. But last year, my brain was most active when I woke up, and also sometimes in the evenings. So what you're going to do is, during those time slots that were in the table, you're going to write, okay, maths, and what was a difficult topic that you highlighted? It was trig. So you're going to start with trig early in the morning. And yeah, guys, I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense. I hope it is. But my main thing, like, if you're not understanding anything, it is that I want you to focus on the topics that count the most in your exams. Okay, actually leave the difficult ones. Focus on the topics that count the most in the exams, and make sure that you get the most marks in those topics. Remember, past papers, past papers, past papers. So in your study schedule, you also need to fit time to do past papers. All right, now moving on to the timetable that I had during examination period. Now, I had a different approach to this because I think it started getting real when it was the week of exams, and I was like, yo, what am I doing? Do I know what I'm doing? And I remember I was sitting at school, because you know how during exams, you guys didn't have class, but you could go to school to study. So I was sitting in one of my teacher's classrooms, and she asked us, she's like, guys, do you guys have a timetable? And we're like, yeah, man, like, we're sorted, we know what we're doing. And she's like, okay, let me see your timetable. We all looked at her and we're like, no, like, ma'am, I know what. So I advise you to do something like this. And she printed out this A3 paper for us, and basically in this paper it is a calendar of the months October and November, because that's when the finals period is. So I think I'm gonna just attach a picture of this, or do like a video and do a voice note over it. So this is my A3 timetable, and as you can see, it starts with the month of October and it has all the dates. And I first started by writing my biggest priorities. So these are subjects that I prioritize within my study schedule, and these are all the dates. And on the bottom, under notes, I'd write that on my days off, this is how I'd study. I'd get up at 4 a.m., start at 5 a.m., and I'd have about 6 or 7 study sessions. And I'd write the specific time of each study session, what I would do. And as you can see, in between, I do have breaks. As some of them, like it ends at 2:30, then I start at 3. So that means that in between, I'd have a 30-minute study break. And as you can see, I'd write that, okay, in study session 1, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing the maths past paper, then I'm doing this, then I'm doing that. Session study 1 for each day. I'd even fit in time, okay, if I'm going to church from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'm at church, therefore I can't set up study time during that period. Then this is more and then I'd write, like, if the full day, if I won't be studying, then I'd write that, okay, here I have my valedictory, therefore I will not be studying at all. And yeah, guys, this is the other side of the study timetable. This is the month of November with all the dates. And one thing that I like about this is that you can also plan ahead. So as you can see here, for 3 weeks, I planned on reading a specific book that we had for English. That was the English novel. And yeah, guys, with this timetable, I think it really helped me. It really helped me because I kept this in front of my desk every day, and every time when I'd study, I'd see it, and it kept me accountable because I was like, wait, Siki, you wrote here that you were going to do this and you haven't done it. Girl, when are you going to do it? When are you going to actually do that? So the main thing is that you need to print out a timetable similar to this, or some sort of paper that will keep you accountable, because hey guys, once you have this, it really does help you. So please, you can print it out in A3, A4, but the bigger the better. You put it in front of your study desk, or you put it wherever you study, and every day you stick to it. You make sure that you stick to it. And remember, guys, final exams, it's not that long. I know it seems like, yo, it's 6 weeks of exams or whatever, but remember that it's only that 6 weeks of what determines where you'll be next year. I know some of you guys want to get into university, you want to get into certain programs, you want to do certain things, but at the end of the day, there's a reason why you're watching this video. It's because you need those distinctions. So I promise you, once you put in the hard work now, once you stick to those timetables now, it's going to be worth it next year when you think, wow, I did all of that. I don't even know why I still have this. And it's so crazy because even on my wall, I still have my IEB timetable on my wall. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. And I still have this timetable stuck on my wall. I don't know why, and I was like, okay, let me include it in this video because it's gonna help a lot of students. So yeah, guys, this helped me, and it also helped my friends who were also in that classroom when our teacher asked, where's your timetable? We looked at her and we were like, ma'am, we have it, but like we can't show. yeah, and she even guided us on this timetable. So shout out to her. I think I'm gonna send her the link to this video so that she watches it. But yes, guys, now the next thing that I'm going to do is I just want to read out a comment that someone said. So this person said, one thing I really struggle with is staying motivated, and I get exhausted quick. Exhaustion/burnout. Like, I start off strong for the first week of exams, but then I just feel demotivated and struggle to get motivated again. Next week is the second week of prelims. Okay, so this person wrote this comment during prelims. Do you maybe know what will help me to get motivated again? And like, I'm disciplined and do what I got to do. It's just when I'm unmotivated, I procrastinate a lot and waste time, you know? Woo! I love this comment. A similar comment to this was, hey Siki, huge fan of your work. I just wanted to know how you stay motivated and avoid procrastination. Procrastination. You need to fight, guys. You are at war. During finals, you need to fight. You need to stand your ground, and you need to say you're on a procrastination. Not here. There's no space for you here, okay? Because guys, thing is with procrastination, it builds up. You might feel like, oh no, it's just this. I just did that. And sometimes procrastination comes in the most cunning ways. Because you tell yourself, oh, I just wrote an exam. I need to rest. I need to give time to myself. I gotta put me first. Honey, you're not done. You are not done. The race is not complete as yet. You only rest after, okay? You're literally in the fourth quarter, guys. You know, in the fourth quarter, well, I'm relating this to basketball, or just like in the last 10 minutes of any game, of any sports, where it's like, you know, when you need to exert yourself, you need to just give in your all. It's that time when you just need to like, okay, I'll do it. Like, avoid procrastination, guys. And I want to read the response that I had to one of the people that commented and asked about procrastination. This is what I said, because I know that not all of you go through my comment section like that, but this was something that I think was really good, and something that you guys also need to hear. So I said, hey there, I totally understand what you're saying. There were moments when I felt the same way in my matric year, but you need to lock in and literally force yourself to get back on track. I commend you for the fact that you're able to realize that you're not as consistent as you need to be. That's the first step. Next, you need to start doing things in between your studying that keep you motivated, right? So we all know that you can't keep on studying. Like, yes, you're studying, and I know that there are times where you feel like, yes, you're being so productive, and it's the breaks in between that ultimately lead you to deteriorate or that lead you to procrastinate. So, like I said, you need to do things in between that keep you motivated. My number one goal was to get into medical school straight after high school. So instead of watching Netflix during my breaks, I would watch vlogs of medical students and listen to their videos of how they got into med school. And that would inspire me so much. It kept me going because I saw myself at a high level. I saw myself beyond great health, and in order to get there, I had to let go of all distractions and focus on working consistently and keeping the momentum going. I hope this helps. I wish you all the best. You've got this. So basically, what I'm saying to you guys is that you need to have constructive breaks, okay? And I still struggle with this now. Sometimes during my breaks, I'll be like, oh, let me check who messaged me. Oh, let me check this. Oh, let me check YouTube. And I need to stop doing that because it's not benefiting me during my study schedule. I mean, during my study period, right? So what I would do during my study period was, like I said, like I just read in this comment, I would watch YouTube videos of medical students because I wanted to get into medical school. I would, okay, not really motivation videos, but I would make it more direct and more relevant for me because I knew that, okay, Siki, there's a reason why you are putting in all of this hard work. It's because you want to get there. So I'd do those type of things. I'd listen to students who would speak about how they got into med school. And I know, like, not everyone wants to get into med school. It may be watching this and you're like, girl, I just want to get good marks so I can be done with high school. And if you are that person, then you go, okay? But what you have to do during your breaks is you need to have constructive activities. Do things that are ultimately going to aid you, or do things that are going to fuel you. It's like during your breaks, you need to I just thought of a good analogy. You need to do things during your break that are gonna fuel you. So think of your breaks as stopping at a petrol station because you need some gas. Is that a good analogy? Oh my gosh, it sounded so profound in my mind. I don't know why, but it's probably like so cliche. Anyways, you need to do things in between your breaks that are gonna give you that further momentum, because there's a reason why you take the breaks. It's to relax and to give your brain some time to breathe, to recuperate, so that you're ready for the next study schedule. Or some people, they do like go on walks or whatever, but I'm not that type of person who would go on walks. But I do think getting up, stretching, studying in a different environment, that definitely helps. That's what I've been doing this entire year here at university, of which I go and I study at a different environment. But yeah, guys, so instead of scrolling on TikTok, my TikTok lovers, my YouTube Shorts lovers, my IG Reel lovers, it's not worth it, because the people that you're watching there on TikTok, they are not stressing about matric exams like you. The people that are there on your Instagram Reels, they are living their own lives, and essentially you are adding to their careers or whatever, because you know how people get monetized by you watching their content. And for me, I felt like, no man, why am I benefiting you when I'm a student? I'm grinding. So I'd rather do something that's gonna fuel me up, that's gonna help me. Like I said, watch videos that are relevant to you, or watch people that inspire you. So I don't know if that helps you as a student, but yeah, guys, basically have constructive breaks that fuel you up for the next study schedule. The next comment is, please do mention in the video the study method that worked for you and how you balance studying for 2 papers that you would write in one day. Right, so the study method that worked for me is past papers, just grinding past papers day in, day out. But also, guys, I have mentioned in my other videos that different subjects require different study methods. So one thing that does help, I think this is for every single subject, that is active recall. Active recall is repeatedly doing the work or going through the concepts This can be done by the use of flashcards. This can be done by the use of having a whiteboard and you write out the information that you remember, the information that you know. But also, when it comes to study methods, guys, past papers. Like at this point in time where your exams are 2 weeks away, past papers have to be your pillar of strength. And then now let me answer the second part of this question. How would I balance writing 2 papers? So I never wrote 2 papers in one day. I think geography students and accounting students, they do write 2 papers, but I didn't do any of those subjects, so I never wrote 2 papers in one day. But what I can say, or what I would do if I had to write 2 papers in one day, is well, it depends. If you're writing 2 different subjects, then it goes back to my thing of prioritize the subject that is more difficult and really work on the concepts of those subjects that are difficult to you. All right. Yeah, I can't really give specific tips because I was never in that position. But all the advice and the tips that I give, I'm able to give it to you because I went through all of those things. So when it comes to writing 2 papers in one day, I would say you really need to utilize, like, I'd say on that week when you're writing those 2 exams, you need to factor it in your mind mentally that, okay, on that day, the endurance and the momentum that I'm going to need to get through those papers, you're going to really need to put in a lot. And even before that, just really look at your timetable, your study schedule, the past papers that you're doing, and make sure that you are working according to, remember when I mentioned that each subject is weighted differently, also each topic of different subjects, they're also weighted differently. So you need to really focus on those ones where you can score very high marks. So the day before that exam, the week of that exam, you are literally dedicating so much time to making sure that on that day you are not stressing, because you don't want to be stressing, like, because during the break between those 2 papers that you have in one day, you don't want to be stressing in the break, thinking about, yo, I didn't cover this for this upcoming paper, yo, I didn't do that, yo, I didn't, you know, you don't want to do that. Instead, you really want to go through some past paper questions or just to revise some important things. So everything goes back to tackling the concepts that count the most, the concepts that you find difficult, and the past papers, guys. I'm not going to stop telling you about past papers. You guys have reached the end of this video. This is part 3. However, it is not the end because as I was editing, I realized that if I continued editing, it would end up being a 50-minute video. So instead, I decided to cut it up into part 3 and part 4. Stay tuned for part 4. It will be uploaded the following day after this video is uploaded. So stay tuned and bye, Siki Squad.